So I've recently been taking advantage of the sales and shopping around for a dual suspension electric mountain bike for a family member. And given that the two bikes that I did find came from very different sources, one from 99 Bikes, which is a bike store that I can purchase in person, and the other one is from Bikes Online, which is a 100% online store. That bike would be delivered to my house and probably require some putting together. So I did go ahead and order the Marin Alpine Trail E from Bikes Online, but this video is not going to be a review of that bike. This video is going to show you the process of setting up a bike that you buy online. How long does it take for delivery? What do you get in the box? How much time does it take to put the bike together? And how much skill or knowledge you need to build the bike, so you can figure out whether buying a bike online is for you or not. I'd just like to say at this point, this is not a paid video. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. So the first thing I have to report is I purchased the bike on a Saturday afternoon and it was delivered on Tuesday. That's pretty good. 2 working day delivery. Compare that to about a week and a half to 2 weeks when I bought my own Merida from 99 Bikes. It had to be shipped from interstate to their store in Adelaide. So I was pretty happy to get this bike in my hands within a couple of days. Now, this is how it arrived. The box had already been opened, as I would have suspected, and I'm used to packing bikes with a little bit more padding. But everything I needed was in there. The first thing I pulled out was this little box of tools and instruction booklets and all the little bits and pieces that I'll need to put the bike together. Everything was really securely packed into the box. I quite like these little Velcro straps which hold down little foam pads to stop things from banging together. First part out of the box was the seat post and dropper. So there's a small box tucked down in front of the forks. Not quite sure what's in that yet. We'll check that out in a bit. Next out of the box is the front wheel. Obviously we've got protection there for the disc brake. And now I can finally lift out the rest of the bike. So as you can see, most parts of the bike have already been installed. So let's take a look and see what we have in this small box. Yep, there we go. It's the chargers and all of the different cable types for different parts of the world. Some instructions in the back there as well. So having a closer look in the little toolbox, there's all kinds of things in there. We've got the pedals. These are pretty plasticky, to be honest. I've got a better set of pedals kicking around. I think I'm going to switch out my alloy ones for these plastic ones. In this small bag, it's got the bell, adapter for the charger, some little Shimano adapter thing, and a little keychain. And of course, as I'd expect, the manual for absolutely everything. But this is the instructions on what I need to do to put the rest of these parts together. It's pretty clearly laid out, very simple to follow, with step-by-step instructions. So last couple of straps to take off to get the handlebars free. Now I found it very useful to have my bike work stand. Getting the bike up on top of this to put it together was very handy, but not necessary. The final warning label. Yep, okay, make sure you have the forks around the right way. Okay, so it's time to get these handlebars on. The little toolkit supplied is awesome. You've got pretty much every size Allen key you're going to need. There's also a little torque indicator so you know you're not over tightening anything. So 4 bolts in the front of the stem to undo. Okay, on go the handlebars. Be sure to tighten the bolts in the correct order. It is pretty clear in the instruction booklet which way to do these up. Undo the little fork brace, which then allows you to take out the through axle for the front wheel. And making sure I check the instructions as I go. Off with the disc protection. Obviously make sure you take out the disc pad separator before sliding the wheel into the fork and then putting in the through axle. Again, using the correct tool supplied and getting it tightened to the right torque. Onto the pedals. And if you've put a bike together before, you'll know there are left and right pedals. This is based on the threads. So make sure you get the left on the left side and the right on the right. There's no need to over tighten pedals as the threads are made to tighten as you pedal. And there's nothing worse than trying to get off pedals that have been put on too tight. The next job is the dropper. I've not put one of these together before, so I really needed to follow the instructions closely. Putting the cable onto the end and then inserting the dropper down into the seat tube. Once in place, I needed to tighten the seat post clamp. Again, making sure I'm not over tightening anything. I don't want to squash the dropper post. So the final placement for the dropper lever was over on the left hand side. This is a thumb lever, so you want it somewhere near where the thumb is going to be able to reach. Some of the electric cables needed to get moved out of the way before I could put the dropper in its correct place. The dropper cable was a little bit loose, so I needed to tighten that up. And unfortunately, I lost the little cap on the end. So I clamped a replacement back on. And we're back in business. Tighten any of the slack in the cable. And now the seat's working perfectly. Push the thumb lever and up pops the seat. So now on to rerouting the electrical cable again, getting that over towards the screen. This is another part that I knew nothing about. And to be honest, there wasn't any information in the instruction book on how to wire up the screen and the battery. Kind of left a little bit in the dark, so it did take me a couple of goes to get this right. You basically have 2 little holes and 2 little cables to go into those holes. So you got a 50% chance of getting it right. Unfortunately, the first time I put it together, I didn't get it right. So when I went to power the bike on, I got nothing. At first, I thought maybe the bike didn't have any battery charge left. So decided to plug the bike in, give it some charge, and see what happens. There's no indicator that the bike was on charge, and there was no power. So the only thing I could deduce was that I got those cables around the wrong way. This was definitely the most confusing part of the entire job. So off with the screen to get to the back, switch the 2 cables around. And bingo, we have power. Fitting the screen back into place. So confirming we've got power. But again, was a little bit confused when I plugged the bike into charge. There is no indicator on the screen itself. Having a look online, this is absolutely normal. This particular EP6 motor and screen doesn't indicate a charge on the screen. The only indicator is actually on the charging pack itself. There's a little amber light that turns green when the bike is fully charged. So the final job is to pump up the tires. That's it. Now it's time to give the bike a little test ride. And it all seems to be working perfectly. I've done a pretty good job. So all in all, even though I had to put this together somewhat, a few parts myself, I think this is a much better option than waiting a week and a half and going and pick the bike up. I realise that's not going to be for everybody, and sure, you can pick up some pretty good bargains in your local bike shop, but I reckon this is perfect for me. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Overall, my experience was great and way above my expectations, but this is something I enjoy. Bikes Online have obviously put a lot of thought into what the customers need to get their bike from the box to the trail, and it's good to know that everything you need is included. The 2-day delivery was amazing, and the simple toolkit very, very handy. All up, it took around an hour and a half, but it could be smashed out a lot quicker. For the most part, the instructions were very clear. Sure, there were some sections that were frustrating, like wiring up and getting power, but thanks to YouTube, it wasn't impossible to problem solve. As far as the bike goes itself, the Marin Alpine Trail E is the perfect entry-level dual suspension electric mountain bike that I hoped it would be. Okay, that's it. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.